Megan,
Hi.
thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just talking about your mug
It's a
there.
very bright cup.
Gave me a little blast from the past. You remember? Did you guys ever have Nalgene's? At elementary school, our thing was getting Nalgene's and then decorating them.
Yes. Oh, I think you might be a little younger than me. I remember that. I remember being a little older. Yes.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, whatever. But thanks for joining. Really appreciate you coming
Thanks
on.
for having me.
Yeah,
Happy to be here.
and we've had one of the Pendello crew on before.
Yes. The Pendello guy.
Yeah, that was a great time. He's a
Yeah.
he's a good friend, and
Mm-hmm.
we've kind of been lining this up, wanting to get you on.
Yeah.
You're the first woman we've had on, so this is a monumental
I love it. I love
monumental
it.
episode. And
I don't know how monumental, but
yeah,
I'm excited.
but for those who don't know what
Mm-hmm.
Pendello does, can you kind of give a
Yeah.
rundown of that?
Yeah, so Pendello is a IT managed service provider. So we are really providing kind of a fixed fee platform for clients that are in need of IT support. So, really, if they need all around business technology, that's kind of what we say, business technology management. We can come in and provide, any type of IT solution that they need, help desk on up to, server migrations, moving to the cloud, just kind of different things to optimize their business any way we can.
Can you give me an example of a recent client? I don't know if you want to disclose who it is, whether or not, but kind of something simple that maybe a non-IT person could understand, a service that you guys provide.
Yeah. So, I would say probably one of the easiest ones is we just did one this week, actually, where, a lot of times your files and the things you have are hosted directly on a server in your office. And now there's a program in Office 365 called SharePoint, part of Microsoft. And so you can house all of your files there. They're all kind of connected. More than one person can be in, say, an Excel spreadsheet at a time. You can both be seeing each other edit. Really nice. They're all housed in one place. You can make the restrictions a lot, a lot bigger, a lot smaller, depending on what you need. We've been doing that a lot for clients, so we just did one today, actually.
And how big is that client?
Pretty big. 20 to 50 people is usually kind of our range, small to medium-sized businesses. And so I think they have about 20 people there. And so, it's a lot of figuring out their permissions, kind of who they want to have access to what, their folder structure, things like that you see in any kind of business that has, multiple people. And then from there, just migrating them off their server onto their cloud platform. And that's that's it.
Yeah. Why have the focus be on the 20 to 50 size person company?
Yeah, so, for us, I would say a lot of those smaller businesses, if they get a little bit smaller, I'd say probably 5 to 10 people. A lot of times they're managing their IT themselves. They're not really big enough to have anybody on staff. They're not really looking to outsource it. They just have a few things. Once we get a little bit bigger than that, I would say a lot of times they're looking to have somebody in-house that's just on their payroll that they can have do whatever they need to. Now, I think that that's changing, but that small to medium size really needs people that can come in and we can handle it all for them. They're paying us one fee, and whether we come on site 2 times or whether we talk to them 250 times that month, it's the same. It's all covered, and we're kind of looking out for their best interest. We can say, hey, this would actually work better for you to go to SharePoint, house it all in Office 365. Let's get rid of some of that excess, kind of stuff we have going on.
Right.
And so I think that kind of 20 to 50 or even 100 people, they're really in tune to that, and that's kind of where they're looking to grow, and we can provide a lot more.
Are you finding most of your clients are non-technical or like non-IT related?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say, we have a lot of focus on compliance and security. So I'd say kind of our sweet spot is healthcare, financial, the financial industry. But we have, all over, ranging from, animals to health to finance to, all over. And I'd say most are not very technologically savvy.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to envision if I had a company, it could be a widget shop that sold nuts and bolts, and it's been open for 50 years, and you're starting to try to get online and figure out how to go to the cloud and host servers. I would want to just outsource all that and not try to hire an IT department.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and I think a lot of times too, kind of the clients that I would say attract, but also we're attractive to them, are the people that are willing to kind of grow with the technology. I would say some of those really small mom and pop shops who have been doing it the same way for 50 years and don't really want to change it. Sometimes that's not a great fit for us, and we're not a great fit for them. But when we do have a company kind of like that, they're small, they want us to come in, they're willing to, listen to what our team has to say and what we think would be best for them. And they're really supportive, and that really, that works out for everybody, obviously.
Do you guys do customized package depending on that individual company's needs, or do you guys say, hey, here's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3?
Yeah, so we have a pretty basic stack that we use that we try to standardize as much as possible, but every client's different, right? We're not just marketing to the 25 people, financial services where they all have the same thing, they all have the same programs. That's just not who we are. And so we are able to customize it to a certain degree. Obviously, everybody has access to our whole team. So we do have tier 1 tech support, we have tier 2, we have a bigger escalation and kind of a tier 3, and all of our clients have access to everyone from a client standpoint. I would say the customization comes in with, what type of programs and workstations and things like that they have. So
very cool. And are you originally from Kansas City?
I am. I was born in Texas.
Okay.
I was born in El Paso, Texas. My parents moved here my dad moved here for a tech job.
Okay.
So
very cool.
I've been here for most of my life, though.
What kind of tech job?
Yeah, so he did a lot of customer support. He worked for a software company, and so he helped them implement their software into big warehouses. He would hate me if he saw this for not knowing exactly, but they put software into warehouses, and I think he went and helped them implement that, and then he helped on the support on the back end.
Interesting. Okay. And was that like back in the 2000s?
That was in like the really early 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he went to Sprint, and so I remember he was at Sprint during Y2K. And so, they all had to be there. It was this whole big deal, and so they had like a family party, and so all of us kids were there, and we spent the night there, and I got these like really cool walkie-talkies that looked, like the headphone walkie-talkies for Christmas, and so we just took them and played. It was great.
Nice.
But yeah, so.
And how did you... Tell me about your whole journey of where you are today, now in IT, fully immersed.
I have to tell you, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, or if you would have told me this is where I'd be, I would have laughed. So my dad has been in IT my whole life, and my mom was an operations manager for a financial wealth advisor. And growing up, I would go to work with them. I was an only child, so I'd go to work and I'd be like, I'm never going to do this. Like, your job is boring. Your job is boring. I want to be out. I want to be helping people. I'm, obviously I can talk to anybody. I can talk to a brick wall. So I just want to be out with the people. And so I actually I went to KU. So lived in this area, went to KU, and I started in nursing. And I went through the science. I went through everything. About like halfway through my first semester, I was like, not sure if this is going to be for me. Love kids. I nannied my way through school. I was always nannying. Always with kids, and so I decided I wanted to go the elementary education route. Okay. And I wanted to focus on special ed. So I kind of went that route, did that for about a year and a half, and then I kind of got into the schools, and I was like, I don't know, 2 kids at a time is enough for me when I'm babysitting. I don't know if I can handle a whole class. So I went back to nursing, started the process for getting into nursing school, and I just really freaked out, and my fight or flight response is not stellar. I run from scary situations like that, so I really liked the health route. I really liked helping people. So I actually stayed at KU, and I went to the School of Health and Exercise Science. Okay. And so I graduated with a health degree. Okay. And so I was, nannying, and I had a couple of just jobs here and there. I worked in a call center, liked being on the phone, liked talking to people. Went to another job in property management, actually, and learned a ton, but not for me at all. And so I actually just kind of left that on a whim, and I still not like me, but one day I was just like, I can't do it anymore. Cannot do it. Did not have anything else lined up. Went home, went to live with my parents, and nannied for the summer. And somebody I nannied for gave my name to our vice president at Pendello, Jill, and she called me up one day. It was my birthday. She just said, hey, I'm in a bind. I got your name from somebody. Would you mind coming to meet me today? And maybe you could help me for the summer. So I showed up. She interviewed me in her kitchen in sweatpants, and halfway through our conversation, she was like, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing? Why are you a nanny? I'm like, well, I'm not a nanny. I'm just looking for a job.
You're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
So how old were you at this time?
23.
See, in
24.
And that's been a common theme. People, a lot of, I think the 23-year-olds are still considered millennials.
Totally.
But they're still trying to figure what the heck they want to do. And
Totally.
IT I think, is a huge bullseye.
I agree. I totally agree. Yeah.
I just spoke to one of my good buddies. Just started with a cybersecurity company just at the beginning of the new year, and he'd been in engineering and doing that stuff, and he's always been fascinated by IT, and he's just now getting into it. Then I met another gentleman this weekend who graduated KU with a finance degree.
Yep.
He's 22, 23, and he's like, I just wasn't. He said he didn't want to do accounting and finance, and he kind of did some internships, got turned off by it, and then he went down to Austin to do an accelerated boot camp, development camp, came back up here and found a job in a week.
Oh, yeah. I have no doubt. Yeah, that's kind of, and to me, that's kind of where, I went in for this interview. I'd still kind of been trying to interview in kind of the health realm. I interviewed for a couple insurance companies and things like that. But, there was just something about them. I met with Jill. I met with Brian, who's our vice president of technology. I met with Mike, our president, and I just really, really liked it. And so, they hired me to actually be a dispatcher. So I just came in and did whatever Jill needed me to do. I answered the phones. I started scheduling tickets. Before that, they were just willy-nilly, wherever the techs went. There were only a few of them at the time. And so they just went where they needed to go. They managed their own schedule. They maybe showed up, maybe, it was a free-for-all. And so Jill was really trying to manage it as much as she could, but that wasn't her area at all. And so she brought me on, and so yeah, I just got to answer the phone, talk to the clients, make tickets, schedule the guys. And then it just kind of blossomed from there. I love talking to the clients. I love making sure that they get the service that they deserve and that they need. But also working with our team in the background. It's impossible to do everything that the clients want when they want. And so I liked kind of being able to figure out, what the next steps were, how we could make it a little more effective, but yet still provide good service to our team or to our clients. And so yeah, from there, it just really Jill was just kind of like, you can go either of these routes. I kind of thought I wanted to go the client management route until I realized, oh, it's kind of like being a property manager. No thanks. I don't love having the really hard conversations with clients all the time. And so I kind of went the service route, and I love being a part of the service team. And now here I am doing operations and tech, and I love it. I'm a mixture of my parents, and I love it. So
well, and it's amazing how just the role of IT, I think, when people get into it, they get intimidated by it because just from a surface level, it looks very, you got codes and algorithms and programming and really, especially on the service side, it's really just customer service focused.
Totally.
Being realistic about the service that you can provide. When you know if you know Pendello's capabilities down,
totally,
you know exactly the expectations that you can provide to the client.
Totally.
And it's really cool because you're solving a lot of problems and headaches. It can probably be pretty rewarding.
Totally. And the thing I think about, especially Pendello, that I think they've done such a great job, and I'm so proud to be a part of, is that, we can teach technical, we can teach that aspect of things. Having people that can have those interpersonal skills, we can talk to clients, we can talk to other people in our office, we can go on site and, have that kind of professional attitude, but still be able to maintain that kind of, business relationship. And then, we can teach that technical stuff in the background. I think those troubleshooting steps, which you get, from any experience, people know how to do that. And I think being able to kind of have that systematic troubleshooting, here's where we're going to go next, here's what we expect, here's what the client expects, makes everybody's, job a little more rewarding and makes them a little more successful, which is nice.
How is it managing IT folks?
Yes, it is.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
I love them. First of all, I love the little tech nerds. No, it's been hard. I'm not gonna lie. I had some management experience from when I was a lot younger, and I love talking to everybody at the office, and so I want to solve problems for them. If they're seeing an inefficiency somewhere, I might not have the technical background to be able to solve the technical aspect of it, but I want to make their jobs as easy and as rewarding and as, as, I can't think of the word, but I want to make their jobs as not fun, but they need to have fun at work every day.
Fulfilling.
I love going to work. Fulfilling, yeah. And so I think it was really hard. I have the best mentors in Mike and Jill. Jill has by far been the best mentor as far as being able to manage people and how to talk to them, how to have those kind of hard conversations in the team, especially if somebody's not pulling their weight, or, we need to tweak how we're communicating with clients or something like that. And so I'm a lot more comfortable in that atmosphere. And now that we've all kind of figured each other out, people kind of know how how Pendello is built and how we're structured organizationally has been, I love it. I love it. I love training the new guys and girls. We have a girl on our team now, on the technical team. I love it. It's an experience, though.
I'm going to piggyback off the girls. There's been a huge push to get women more involved into the IT side. And, how do you feel about that? Just in general, because sometimes it's almost in your face.
Yep.
And so, we placed our first girl developer this summer, and I've been doing this for over 7 years. And it was shocking to me when it kind of was like, whoa, that was a first. So I don't know. I think that's going to start to change dramatically here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I agree. We hired our first technical resource that was a female last year, about a little less than a year ago now. And she's actually came in as kind of our tier 2. We call them business technology specialists. She had a lot of experience. She came from an internal IT. And yeah, to me, because we always talk about cultural fit and how important that is, I interview everybody. Most of the time, I really like people we talk to. It's very rare that I leave an interview and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I usually have to have other people be like, oh, well, let's talk about this. I love talking to everybody that comes in to interview. And so for me, it's a lot easier for me to see the cultural fit and to see, oh, here's where so-and-so might fit in. And so I think that's been a little more challenging for, the guys in the office, just because it's a guy's room usually. And so she fits in great. And I think I think women too are realizing kind of, I don't know, I think it takes a special type of female to be a tech. You kind of have to have a certain personality, and at least who's, the woman on our team, she fits right in. She's one of the guys for all she cares. And so
that's the common theme. Usually if there is a woman on the technical side, she can hang with one of the guys, which I don't know, you could look at that a couple different ways, but that's just the way it is. And it is tough work. And especially, I mean, it's not for everybody. And you definitely have to have a certain kind of mindset and patience for it. So, and also, you guys have some really technical folks, architect level. You guys hire folks out of Centric and boot camps. How does the interview process, fluctuate between bringing in someone really technical and someone just barely in IT?
Yeah, so that's actually changed quite a bit for us in the last, I've been at Pendello about 4.5 years now, and when I first started, they really hired technical folks. That's what we needed. We just had such a small service team at the time that we just needed people that could come on, that could be experienced and could do anything. We're a small company. We all kind of do things we don't want to do. We all have to take out the trash and undo the dishwasher. You guys know how that goes. But, and so we needed those people that could just come in, pick it up. Yeah, we had to teach them a little bit about the MSP area of things, because going from having one client to 57 is tricky. But they could get the hang of it. Now, as we've really developed that kind of, more technical and more knowledgeable kind of tier 3 and tier 2 aspect, we've really been looking to move people up internally and get people kind of up to that route. And so we are really hiring, a little bit greener techs that either didn't have any past experience, just went through Centric or just went through another boot camp, or have a little bit of help desk experience, some type of troubleshooting expertise, where I'm all about that. And I would much rather have them on my team, because I've trained so many folks, get them in, teach them how the help desk works, teach them how Pendello works, and then find out where they want to go from there.
Okay. How do you guys retain talent? Because this is probably the most competitive environment I've ever seen.
Totally. So, one of our core values is the mullet mentality. And so, we always say business in the front, party in the back, but that's truly how it is. We developed that core value. We developed all of our core values a couple of years ago, and that was one that just really stuck. And to me, that's how we kind of build our team. I mean, instantly, I know the last couple guys that we hired said instantly when we walked in, we could feel the kind of team aspect of things. Everybody's working together. We all sit very close together physically. And so it's just hard not to develop those relationships. And with that, we really are trying to focus on training and developing the people that we have. You know, I would love for everybody to stay forever. I know Mike said, I know that's not realistic. I would love for everybody to stay forever. But in knowing that, we want to develop our people. We want them to have, and you know, one thing I'm trying to do on our team is develop some sort of incentive plan. You know, and not that it's any big deal, but you know, every couple months we'll just go out for a beer on a Friday afternoon, or go out and grab appetizers, or the bar up the street used to have can't even remember the shuffleboard. Yeah. And it got really competitive, but just fun things that we can do like that. We have little incentive programs. If somebody just went above and beyond for me, I can just hand them, you know, a little gift card and say, please go enjoy yourself on the weekend, have fun on me. And I mean, it's just a little thing. And I wish I could do more, but at the same time, you know, I just did that for someone a couple weeks ago, and they're like, my last job did not make me feel good like this. And it was just a little tiny thing that I could do and say, please go treat yourself, go get some dinner on me. And not that that's, you know, but little things like that we can do as a team. Our holiday party is always a blast. Every quarter we usually have a big team meeting, and we try to go do something afterwards, bowl or go get food or something like that. And it just kind of creates that team atmosphere that I think a lot of times you don't get. And we're all in it together. It's so cheesy, but it's true. We're all kind of in the trenches together day in and day out. And so we just care. We just care about each other.
How do you, have there been talks with Jill and Mike of scaling what you guys have while also keeping that small business feel?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking to grow, I would say. And, you know, there's always plans. I always kind of have a dream of what the help desk would look like and what my team would look like. And, you know, I know that they have a vision. We're kind of working through traction right now. And so developing kind of that 3-year plan and that 10-year target and things like that. And so I think, you know, there's definitely, that's the hardest part, right, though, is scaling what you have and making it work, even though, you know, get that small business feel, but maybe have 50 people. I don't know. So it's there. I know it is, but it's hard work. It
could be delicate because you have to pay attention to each individual, because everybody's having such a big part, especially when you're at the small business size, and then figuring how to scale that but keep it homey.
Totally.
It's not easy to do.
No, yeah. And I think one of the things, you know, we're getting ready to move offices, and one of the things that's been such a focus is how do we keep our team, we call it the pen, the help desk is called the pen. How do we keep them together? How do we keep our team together so we're still functioning as a unit? We still kind of have that feel of everybody kind of comes together, everybody's working together, and make it bigger, which is nice. And, you know, I think a lot of times just being in that kind of environment where everybody cares about each other. I mean, Mike and Jill are up there. They care. They want to know how everybody's doing. I think kind of having that feel, I really think that speaks to them and how they've created the business that they've created. And I think that part will help it scale on any size, because they're caring about us makes us care about them and about Pendello. And it's just natural. It's not forced. It's not, I mean, you know, Mike, you're friends with Mike. He's they're just great people to work for. So,
are you able to talk about the new location at all?
I don't know. It's in the works. It's still pretty close to where we are for any of our folks that are pretty close. You know, we're still going to be we'll be on the Kansas side. I know that. And it'll be nice and a lot bigger and a lot, you know, to create that team feel. But also we want our clients to be able to see where we work and how our different teams kind of come together to kind of create this cohesive business management platform for them. And I think a lot of times in our office now, just because we are so small and cramped, it's hard to kind of get that vibe. And so I think having that kind of space where we can feel at home, we can feel like we all have enough space to have our own, you know, to have our own thoughts, but at the same time kind of work as a unit, and to be able to have the client sit there and say, oh, that's how this team, you know, works with the escalation team, or this is how projects come together with the client relationship team, and this is who answers the phone day in and day out. You know, right. I think that'll be really nice.
So there's been a hot topic is, especially on the development side, is developers working from home. You know, the vacation days. There's a lot of companies that are saying unlimited vacation days. I'm having guys and girls that'll reach out to me and saying, hey, I've been working remote and it actually hasn't been good because I'm too separated and isolated from the rest of the team. How do you see, because Pendello is going to be heavy customer focus.
Mm-hmm.
You say the pen.
Yeah.
The pin or the pen?
The pen, like Pendello.
Okay.
But it's like
okay.
a pen of people.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So
Little
how
play
do
on
you,
words there.
do you how do you see your guys' workspace
Yeah.
evolving?
That is a great question because this is a hot button topic
Mm-hmm.
around the Pendello office. So I mean, I think it's part of my role, but I do not like working from home. If we have like a snow day and we all have to work from home, I have the worst days. I don't like being able to be around everybody. I don't like being isolated. I like to know where everybody's at.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of the guys on the team will love to work from home or have some sort of alternative schedule, 4/10s or something like that. There's a happy medium there because, to your point, we go on site a lot. We have a lot of on site appointments that are just standard. Every week, we're at the same clients, we're seeing the same people. And so it's a little bit harder to make it, I don't want to say fair, but harder to develop an alternative schedule when some people don't do that and some people do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because they're necessarily any different in knowledge level or anything like that. It's just kind of the nature of what they like or what specialties they have. And so it's on my list for 2019. It goes both ways. I think a lot of times people do function a lot better from home and, it's kind of having your own space and things like that. But we're close, man. When we're not all together, it's hard.
Yeah.
And because we work so closely together, a lot of times if there's, a ticket or an issue that we're working on that, 3 people are in the office are working on and then 1 person's at home, it's a little bit harder to kind of get that resolution or what we need in place. It's not impossible, but it's on the radar. I know that's where it's going.
Yeah.
So.
And with an influx of entry level IT candidates, what I've seen at the KU boot camp and at Centric is, let's use Centric. They'll have 15 to 20 candidates per class, every 3 or 4 months. Yeah. And I'm from what I'm seeing, I could be wrong, that only 10-15% of those candidates are really successful. They find a position and they excel. And for those folks that are thinking about getting into IT and they just need a foot in the door, because you guys do take chances on entry level folks. Attitude wise, like what are the core values that you are seeing that are making these folks successful?
Yeah, I think a willingness to learn. I do think with hiring folks that are just coming out of Centric or out of a boot camp, they're pretty entry level. Obviously, they have a willingness to learn and a willingness to go above and beyond. So to me, that's a benefit to having folks, they're taking the initiative to go to one of those boot camps to get that education, even if it's just a short amount of time. And so to me, that shows initiative right off the bat. But I do think, just having those kind of that willingness to learn, willingness to talk with the client, and honestly, the willingness to be put in kind of an uncomfortable position. It's easy to say, okay, our training plan, you sit and you shadow, and we do have a one-on-one, we've worked on our training plan immensely. And so they shadow our team a lot. Kind of towards the end of their training, we have one of our guys shadow them and just kind of make sure that they're kind of on the right track as far as communications go and things like that. But at some point, we kind of got to push them in. And so I think kind of having that willingness to be uncomfortable, too, is important. And, I've talked about this so many times, I feel like, but family matters is one of our core values. It shows, and nothing is beyond reach. That's one of our values as well. Having that just willingness to go and to troubleshoot and to say, you know what, I don't know what this answer is right now, but let me figure it out. I think those people are always successful and bringing ideas to the table.
Right.
I'm an operational that's just kind of where my mindset is. And so I'm not great at coming up with those ideas. Hey, Megan, I've been seeing a lot of this. I don't really know how to implement a change, but I really think we could work on this. The people that walk into my office and do that, I'm like, yes, thank you. We will figure that out. And then we have a monthly meeting in our team where I just sit down with our tier 1 guys and a couple of our tier 2 people. And I just say, hey guys, here's the problem of the month. Let's solve it. And so I think having ideas too and being able to come up and say, hey, been noticing this. I have an idea. Even if we can't implement it right away, having that voice and that confidence is helpful as well.
That's good. Do a lot of the technical folks have mentors at Pendello?
Yeah, so we actually have a technical service lead. He's technically one of our tier 2 engineers. He's our business technology specialist. And so he's really sitting on the pen day in, day out. He still sits with the help desk. He really drives any escalations, any issues that they're having. But he really takes them under his wing for the first, few weeks to months that they're there, specifically if they don't have a ton of experience, he really just sits there. He kind of shows some tough love sometimes, but I think that's good. I'm like, oh, it's okay. He's like, nope, go do it. Go figure it out. Have you checked here? Have you checked here? Have you checked here? You know, what about this resource? And so he's been immensely helpful to that process, because ever since we kind of implemented that model of having him just kind of sit there and go, we've been really successful with the techs we brought in.
Yeah, I think for anybody coming into an entry level position, from what I'm seeing, the most successful ones are ones that have a mentor in some capacity that can just show them the ropes, spends that personal one-on-one time with them. I think it's crucial for any folks.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think part of our training plan is we have them meet with all of our different specialties. So our leadership team now, you know, we have our project guy who does a lot of server work, our network environment manager who does a lot of security.
And they can say, "Oh, I like that
so
one."
So for a day, they sit with each person, each kind of field. And so a lot of times you'll kind of see, you know, a couple pairs, they really get along. You know, our technical solutions manager is really good about kind of saying, here's where I think they'd be really great, or I'd love to have them help me with this thing if we can, you know. And so I think having those relationships too, they can't always walk into their office if there's an escalation, but having that kind of relationship too. And the other thing is, I would love for every time we hired somebody to hire 2 people. I think that, I know that's not logical, but I think having that kind of person, we hired 2 people the last time we did it, and they just connected, and they kind of have each other to lean on. They can help each other. They can, you know.
It can be intimidating coming into a very technical team and being an entry-level person.
Totally.
And having no one to relate to.
Totally. And we set them right in the middle of all of the kind of more knowledgeable people so that they can ask questions. But on the opposite end, to your point, that can be pretty intimidating and pretty scary. And it's just a big open room, and they're just all sitting there together. And
so do you guys focus mostly on Kansas City companies?
We do.
What is the thought process of scaling outside of Kansas City?
Yeah, so, you know, I don't know if they have any plans kind of in the works to have another office or anything like that. You know, part of having people here in Kansas City is so that we can meet with them. I love going to meet with our clients. When I was the dispatcher, I didn't get to do that a ton. Now as a service manager, I can go and say, hey, let's talk about service. I love that. And so I think that would be really hard for us just from our kind of relationship building that we like to do. I think that would be really hard to not have businesses, you know, have businesses that are just remote. But in saying that, we have quite a few businesses now that are headquartered here. They have a lot of offices remotely. And so, you know, we have a lot of partners that help us that work in different areas that can go out to those clients if we need them to, which is really helpful. But, you know, I don't know. I don't think there's anything on the horizon, but
we'll see what it brings.
Yeah, totally.
And individually, where you know, you're in a great position now. You're in IT, you're in management with a great company that's growing. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Oh, that's tough. As Jill would say, I bleed Pendello green, so I'm here to stay whether they like it or not. You know, we've really been digging into how our team functions and how the different areas of Pendello work together, how they, you know, how we kind of band together, but also we have to kind of separate our hats, right? We all kind of wear different hats in the business. For a long time, because I started off just doing whatever they needed me to do, yes, I manage, you know, most of the people at Pendello, but at the same point, I also order lunch if we need lunch or, you know, something like that. And so kind of trying to peel away those hats and really focus on what the core role is of each person's job is kind of where we're at. And every time we talk about that, man, I just love the service team. You know, we've talked about some different things, but I love the team. I love being a part of the team. I love getting to you know, champion for the guys. When we get into a room, our client manager, Kristen, and me, you know, we have a pretty healthy conflict. We love each other. I love her, and I would not want to be at Pendello without her, but she champions for the client. And a lot of times, as much as I want to help the client and as much as I get that, I'm really championing for the team to say, here's what we can do. Yes, I want to make it work, but here's our limitation. And so just really being able to be that person who gets to stand up and say, here's where service is, here's where we are. I think I still see myself kind of doing that in some regard in 5 years.
I think it's really positive to have those kind of internal conversations. I wouldn't call them battles, but no. But you know, you're not just saying yes. all the time. You have to look out for the client and your internal folks at the same time, which a lot of people can't do. They want to say yes, or I've seen companies, throw their IT folks under the bus.
I would never do that.
Yeah, so you can't do that either.
You can't do that. But yeah, and we just talked about that today in our leadership meeting. Having those healthy conflicts, it's never fighting or anything like that. But I think that just shows that we're each functioning in the role we're supposed to be in, which I do think is a positive. And every once in a while, one of us has to give and the other one has to give. And if we can't, then there's a tie break. We have a tiebreaker. Her name is Jill, and she can come in and say, here's the next steps. A lot of times it's a compromise, Neither person's totally 100% happy. But, we have to do what's right for the client and what's right for us. We're really working on what is the right thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the hard answer or the hard conversation is the right thing, even though it's not the easiest thing to do, but it's the right thing.
I want to go back a little bit. I want to dig in a little bit more on what you just talking more about women in tech.
Yeah.
I want to understand more of it, what it's like from your perspective.
Yeah. I would love for half of our team to be women, and we're getting there. We have 15 or 16 people at Pendello right now, and 4 are women, so 25%, which is great. But I just really think that if you are looking for a change, or your passion is in IT, we don't do a lot of development. I know that there have been a ton more women on the development side. That's not really where we are, but I think if you can talk to people and you have those troubleshooting steps and you're interested in technology and you're interested in learning, just go for it. I would really love to have that be more of a norm.
Yeah.
In all things, but, I don't think that there's any reason why a woman couldn't do what all the guys, it's silly.
No,
just go do it. And I do think
I
it takes
agree.
a different part of your brain, but at the same point, I think there are some positives, to having a woman who can sit there and be a little bit more gentle sometimes. A lot of times
Softer
it's
touch.
a little softer. Sometimes it's nice to have that softer touch, a little bit more emotion in it. Not that, but I think that that's helpful, and I think it's positive. And I think anytime we can make the ground a little bit more level for men and women, then it's a positive thing.
Interacting with the clients.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're interacting with plenty of folks in upper management. Are you seeing a big gap between men and women in upper management with clients, or is it pretty 50-50?
No, I would say pretty 50-50. And, as a matter of fact, our one female who is on our tech team, she's one of our on-site resources. She's on site more times than she's in the office. And she's just had a really positive, the way she explains things, which I think is just her, not necessarily because she's a woman. But I think we're really lucky. Our clients are really open to anything. We are constantly trying to test, what works best. If we have a certain tech that works best, or maybe it's best to switch it up every now and again, or things like that. We're constantly changing, and our clients are really great, and they really are open to anybody, which is nice.
That's nice. Are you guys doing any work with like the STEM program? Are you guys, there's all different kinds of little tech nonprofits and organizations around the city.
Yeah, so that's one thing that, I think Mike was really trying to get Pendello to a place where we can really be a part of that kind of STEM, really the younger crowd. Anytime we can help kids get interested. I think nowadays, everything's digital, right? They all have their iPhones and things like that. But I'm sure they all want to develop an app now. But, you use the skills you use in technology or in help desk or in support like we do. Those are skills that anybody can develop in any atmosphere. And so just knowing that you can learn how to troubleshoot an issue with a workstation, or you can learn how to troubleshoot an issue with a server or a firewall. But just having those skills to be able to step in, and I think you need a little bit more of the STEM for some of it, but I think anybody.
Are you guys getting involved with or have any programs like that?
I think that it's on the radar. I know for sure Mike had gone and talked to, he had been kind of part of a mentor program, going to talk to some, a little bit of the disadvantaged youth, just kind of trying to talk to them, say, hey, what are you interested in? Here's a little bit about technology, things like that. For sure. And
nice.
we would love to do more of that, for sure, because I think it's needed.
Well, and it's fun too.
It's fun.
It's amazing to see how different it is from when you and I were going through grade
Totally.
school. All the different
Oh my
options that they
gosh.
have.
Yes.
I went to a first robotics competition
Yes.
last winter down. It was like the Metropolitan Warehouse down in the East Bottoms, and it was massive. It was like televised on the internet. They were having
Yeah.
these kids were so focused and so competitive, and they were building robots that could solve Rubik's cubes on their own. They were building these, on wheels
Oh,
and
yeah, they can-
finishing these courses. It was very cool.
Well, and I do think now a lot of times, at least kind of where we live, they have a curriculum for kids that are trying to learn a certain skill, cooking or health, being a health profession or technology, and kind of being able to be a high schooler or even a little bit younger and going and saying, I'm interested in this. Let me see, what I can do there. I think having that open to all students helps girls and boys get interested and kind of gets their foot in the door to figure out what they like to do
Yeah.
and any profession, but especially technology. I mean, it's everywhere. It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Do you guys have any internships?
We don't currently. We did. When I first started, I know we had some interns.
Because you start off as an intern, right?
Kind of, yeah. I worked like part time just for a few weeks before I like really started. But yeah, I am definitely open to that. I haven't talked about it yet with my Kindle, so I might be putting my foot in my mouth.
No,
but
just curious.
yeah, no, we don't currently. But something we've looked into, one of the things we're doing this year is Windows 10 workstations. Windows 7 is going to become obsolete at the end of the year. So replacing all those workstations for all of our clients.
Did not know that.
Yeah. So we're replacing all those Windows 7 computers to be Windows 10. And so that's just a lot of hands-on repetitive things. And so
Nice.
something I'm looking into for sure.
Awesome. And if anybody wants to get in touch with you,
Yeah.
or maybe interested in some opportunities down the road, or maybe just wants to connect, what
Yeah.
would be the best ways to do that?
Yeah, for sure. So our website, Pendello.com, is great. We have lots of little blue buttons, and there's a career button on there. We'll always tell you. And there's a contact us button. They can contact you and absolutely reach out to me, or they can call us. Our phone number is 913-677-6744. And you can press 1, which gets to our service team, and they can really talk to anybody, but they can ask for me. And I'm happy to talk with anybody. So,
Are you the voice prompt?
yes.
I knew it was you.
It's me.
You have a good voice.
I'm the voice prompt for a few things around here in Kansas City.
Yes, you have a
just-
commercial coming up, right?
I may or may not have a
Okay.
little commercial, but
We're going to be hearing more from you.
you'll be hearing more for sure. Sorry if it's annoying. No.
No, this has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so
I
fun.
really enjoyed having you, and
Thank you.
we had a great conversation,
Yes.
and I'm sure we will do this again.
Yes.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it. Thanks
Thank
so
you,
much,
Meghan.
Peyton. Thanks.
Yeah. All right.
Woohoo.
Excellent. All right.